The first thing I'm going to start off with is an unboxing to show you what comes with the rear differential cover kit from AEV. And what you're going to see here in the box is our hardware kit. This contains all of the nuts and bolts and accessories that we're going to need for the installation. Starting off with these hex cap style bolts. We have our logo badge here. We got a drain plug, and we've got these studded with nut type bolts for the top end that hold these brackets that you'll see here shortly. And of course our O-ring. As with all of the AEV products, you're going to find that their instructions are on a downloadable sheet. Just pop onto the website to see that. Here is that heavy-duty nodular iron cover, and we're just going to slip that out of the bag and take a look at it, and we're going to get started with the installation. The first step you're going to see me do in the removal phase is going to be taking off this rear differential skid plate. This is a factory option on the ZR2 Bison. If you do not have a Bison, you can skip ahead as you're not going to have this in the way. To get the rear portion of the skid plate off, it's pretty straightforward. There's 4 nuts on the bottom of 2 U-bolts that hold it across the rear of the axle housing. When I do get those off, I do like to replace the 2 rearmost nuts on there. That just holds that assembly up so that when we release this front snout bracket, it doesn't come swinging down or fall off the vehicle. The front snout bracket just has 2 15mm bolts that travel through the bracket into the bottom of the skid plate. And once you have those off, you can go back to the back and take those 2 nuts off and allow that skid plate to fall out of the way. In order to get the diff cover off, we're going to have to first get the bracket that's at the top of the diff cover off, and that's held in place with a few nuts that are on the studs that are the bolts that hold in the top part of the differential cover. Once we get that loose, you'll see that it'll free up some brackets that are holding in the brake line as a support over the top of the diff, as well as the diff breather itself. Once all that's out of the way, we can remove the studs and move along to taking out the rest of the bolts that go through the rest of the diff cover. I do like to put one of the bolts back into the top just to hold it so that when I do free the bottom edge, all the fluids can drain and not have the diff cover fall into my drain pan. I'm going to release that differential cover and let the fluids drain for a second, then remove that upper bolt and allow the fluids to continue to drain into the pan over the next few minutes. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at what the differential cover itself has on it, wiping through the edges here of the gasket to see if there's any shards of metal or anything else that is noteworthy. For the most part, this is only a 30,000 mile service and it looks very clean. In the case of what's on the metals on the magnet, you're going to basically see that there's going to be a little bit of very fine material, but as I run my fingers through it, I'm not finding any heavy metal shards or chunks. And just as a checkup here, I'm going to spread that across a white sheet of paper and see how fine it is. And I don't see anything abnormal here. This is pretty normal wear and tear for 30,000 miles. In preparation for getting the surfaces clean so that I can re-adhere the new gasket, I want to make sure that we get all of the fluids off of the surfaces using a little bit of degreaser and a clean rag to make sure there's no oil residue. With everything open, it's a good idea to take a look at what's going on inside the differential. So here, I'm going to take a close look at the wear surfaces of the teeth, look for chipping, scoring, anything that looks like abnormal wear. But overall, I see good tooth engagement and even wear across the entire face of the ring gear. And for the most part, looking at the rest of the assembly, I see that the locker wires are intact and there's really nothing of concern. Moving along to the next step, I've got to adhere the AEV logo to the back. We want to just use a little degreaser, make sure there's nothing on there, and then apply the badge. And as per the instructions, you're going to apply about 30 pounds of force for about 30 seconds to make that adhesion take place. So put a little bit of weight on it and we're ready to go. Then I'm going to pull the cap off and I have to put that O-ring in so that when we do finish up with the fill that it has a nice sealing surface, and that just kind of rolls over the threaded area like so, and we'll get ready to go ahead and do the installation. First thing, I like to make sure that my gasket is correct and then put that on the back of the nodular iron cover with a couple of the studs ready to push through. That'll help with the alignment starting at the top so everything hangs well, and following the instructions on which ones get the studs and which ones get the socket head screws. In this case, you'll see the 4 across the top right, and then I'll place the bottom ones in. Everything gets hand threaded in just to make sure that none of the threads have any material in them or anything that would cause them to cross thread. With everything started by hand, I'm going to move along to getting the bolts at least placed evenly across the surface of the differential. I am not torquing at this point in time, as you do want to follow a torque pattern. As you can see, I am torquing these in a pattern. I am starting at the top, working way to the bottom, and then moving in a counterclockwise pattern to make sure that I get even torque across the entire surface of the rear differential cover. These are going in at, I believe, 18 to 22 foot-pounds. I am going to do a couple passes. I'm only going to show the one here on the video, but that's just to make sure that everything is torqued up flat and even. This is especially important because we are using an OE-style dry gasket. Now that the differential cover is torqued in place, we need to get all of our accessory brackets on. I'm going to start off with the e-brake cable. That's the gray one in the middle. Get that one started. Place the bracket for the wiring harnesses on next. Get all of those nuts in place, and then torque those down to make sure that everything is solid. Now I'm ready to add the fluids to refill the differential, and what I'm going to be using here today is Mobil 1 synthetic 7590 oil. It will take about 1.5 quarts, and where you're going to stop is basically whenever it starts seeping out through the fill hole plug. Once it starts coming through that hole, I'm going to let it drain for a little bit so that it levels off, cap off the top, and then clean off the surface here so that we can put the plug in place, and we're pretty much finished up with the installation cover portion. Again, if you have a Bison, you have one more step here of putting the differential cover skid back on. Otherwise, if you're a standard ZR2, you're ready to go. The installation process of the skid plate is obviously pretty straightforward. You just took it off, and we're going to go through that same process in reverse order. We're going to start off with getting the U-bolts hung, and once those are in place, we're going to put 2 of the nuts in place to align the rear section, rotate it up, get the front nuts in place, and then we're going to move along to the front snout bracket. We want to get that aligned, put the 2 15mm bolts through, and then run each of the bolts all the way up, and then go through the same torquing process. Here again, it's a U-bolt. We want to make sure we apply even torque, and use a torque wrench so that we make sure we get the proper torque specs and don't over tighten the bolts. Once we get our breather valve back on the top, that'll wrap up our complete diff cover installation.